Welcome to St. Paul Central High School as we continue our coverage of high school girls basketball. Today, an inter-class game with two teams near the top 10 in the standings. The St. Paul Central Minutemen host the Benilde-St. Margaret's Red Knights. Hello everyone, Mike Beaton here. Thank you for joining us. We have two teams who have experienced a lot of winning ways in recent games. St. Paul Central has won 7 of their last 8 games. Benilde-St. Margaret's has won 12 of their last 13. Records are near identical, and even though there isn't a lot at stake with the conference or section implications, both schools in different classes, this game will have some pull. Benilde-St. Margaret's is currently jockeying with Minneapolis-Washburn for the top seed in Section 6, Class 3A. Benilde-St. Margaret's getting some quality wins this week to jump past Minneapolis-Washburn, who had the number 1 seed based on the QRF ranking to start this week. That being said, it's up to the coaches, so both schools are going to have a little more pressure to get as many quality wins as they can to make that argument. Benilde-St. Margaret's is led by Grace Coughlin, who averages 17 points per game. She's headed to the University of Minnesota. And Azaria Jackson-Sherrod will be the secondary option on offense. But Bob Lyons, the head coach for Benilde-St. Margaret's, told me this team is more balanced than numbers would indicate. 6 different players have led the team in scoring this season throughout individual games. And even though Benilde-St. Margaret's will be shorthanded, Allie Coughlin is ill and will not play, they have more versatility than the numbers would suggest. St. Paul Central going through a transition. Willie Taylor retired last year after reaching the state tournament round in Class 4A. In his place is Marta Wallen, one of the many proteges under Willie Taylor. Wallen, a graduate from St. Paul Central in 2004. Spent the last couple of years as an assistant coach, and she has pined for this job, says it's a dream opportunity to be coaching at the school that she helped contribute to a basketball powerhouse status. On the floor, Raina Chereau is the team leader, getting a few looks from Division I schools. Won't make her signing official until spring, but she's averaging close to a double-double in points and rebounds and has taken over adequately in the place of Sade Chapman at the 5 spot. Central, though, is going to have to keep an eye on the power forward position. They don't have much size or experience in one package, so we could see some interesting maneuvers at that spot. Here's a look at our keys to the game. For Benilde-St. Margaret's, they want to protect the ball, they want to hold Central to 1 shot, and they want to play smart. Bob Lyons feels Central has stronger athleticism, agility, and speed, and perhaps a deeper roster to counter some of the moves they'll make on offense. So keep an eye on that, but holding Central to 1 shot will be key because Bob Lyons isn't sure Benilde has the size to match up with Raina Chereau down low. St. Paul Central's keys, containing Grace Coughlin. That's an obvious one when you're putting up 17 points and increasing the efficiency as she has. Mitigate the disadvantage at power forward, as we mentioned, because that is a hole Benilde-St. Margaret's could exploit to find some offense. And finally, St. Paul Central wants to pressure the guards. The Minutemen have 3 guards they feel can attack at any time. You'll see them all with significant minutes today. They'll want to put pressure defensively on Benilde's guards. Grace Coughlin will draw a lot of coverage, but they'll want to contain the others and really make Benilde work to find offense in an area they're not so sure about. Starting lineups and tip-off are coming up in a few minutes, along with the reprise of Sean Williams-White, who will join me in the booth. Stick around. Welcome to St. Paul Central, and welcome back to the booth, Sean Williams-White. About 3 years since our last game together. You think you can shake off the rust?
Well, we'll see for this first game, but I'm glad to be back here, and thank you for having me back here. I remember I did a game here back 3 years ago at Central, if I remember.
Central Minnehaha boys, that game went down to the wire.
Yes, it did.
Well, here's the wire on the starting 5 for both teams. For Benilde-St. Margaret's, number 1, Grace Coughlin, the senior guard, will get the start. You know where she's headed. It's Minnesota. Number 5, Liz Nicholson, senior guard. Number 25, Gretchen Sattler, junior guard. Number 30, Sydney Liebel, junior forward. And number 31, Azaria Jackson-Sherrod, junior forward. As we said in the open, Coughlin and Jackson-Sherrod, the primary offensive weapons for Benilde-St. Margaret's, but they have a deceptive amount of balance. St. Paul Central will start. Number 2, Chelsea Kizart, 5'7" junior guard. Number 3, Lyric Williams, 5'5" senior guard. Number 12, Jada Jones, 5'6" senior guard. Didn't take part in warm-ups because she had ACT testing this morning, so we'll see how that affects her game. Number 15, Raina Chereau, 6'2" senior center. And number 30, Asia Smith, 5'8" senior guard. All the starting 5 for St. Paul Central returning from last year's varsity team and all had significant minutes, so St. Paul Central will bring a lot of experience to the floor.
Yes, they will. And yet, again, also they have the benefit of not having a lot of seniors who left last year.
They did lose a few experienced folks, though. Sade Chapman, now she's playing college basketball at Clemson, the ACC member, and Betsy McDonald went to St. Cloud State to play basketball. But the biggest loss was Willie Taylor retiring from the head coaching job here. He took an assistant job at Hamlin. Marta Wallen stepping in. Wallen having a lot of experience. Played Division I basketball at Missouri, Kansas City. And a couple of years ago came back, gave Willie Taylor a call, and Willie brought her into the coaching staff, and here she is in her first season as head coach.
And it's been a great season so far for her, obviously.
14-5, Benilde-St. Margaret's at 15-3, so near identical records. Again, more on the line for Benilde-St. Margaret's than for Central, but whoever wins will get a quality win to the resume today. Central wearing the black jerseys, Benilde wearing the white, and we are underway. As we said, Benilde playing shorthanded, Allie Coughlin out due to an illness, and St. Paul Central having to work with really no true power forward. And they actually decided to start Kennedy Gay in place of Jada Jones. Jones may still be taking the ACT test or has not completed that yet, so Gay getting the start today.
Yeah, Central all collectively is going to have to really bring it up into the key area with that loss right now for this game.
They go for 3. That's Smith. Bullseye.
You see a great shot there from the outside.
St. Paul Central executing their press, a staple of theirs for the last several years. Benilde-St. Margaret's lining up the 3. Short. That came from Liebel. Dead ball rebound will go to Central.
Yeah, may have rushed too quickly into that shot and received that the ball didn't go as close to the hoop.
She actually hesitated before firing. She had an opening, and you notice that a lot in basketball. A lot of players, they see such a wide open seam, they're not quite sure what to do with it.
Yeah, you have a split second where you have to decide whether to go for it or not, and a lot of times you second guess it and end up regretting it, but yet again, it's still a split second they have to choose.
Missing that is Liebel, and the offensive rebound will go to Grace Coughlin. Coughlin playing point guard this year, spent time at shooting guard last year, switched to the point, and that's the position she wants to play for college when she goes to the Golden Gophers. Jackson-Sherrod missing the jumper. Lyric Williams with the rebound. Williams, one of her highlights last year came against Duluth East.
Yeah, Williams is one of the best rebounders in the state right now. Of course, leading her team in rebounds, but is number 6 in the state right now overall with getting rebounds.
Are you sure that's not the Williams from Armstrong? There's another Lyric Williams out there. That's Jackson-Sherrod on the run. We'll confirm the numbers, though, for you. I can tell you that both Williams and Kizart are in the top 10 in steals in the state. And as I say that, Kizart almost lost the ball, but Chereau was there for the recovery. 3-0. There's the entry pass to Chereau, and Jackson-Sherrod doing a great job boxing her out. Liz Nicholson out to Sherrod. Over to Sattler. She misses the tray, and Sherrod, the rebound comes out of her hands, but it's tipped by Jackson Sherrod, so Central keeps the ball.
Yeah, that was a lucky tip right there. Otherwise, Benilde would still have the ball.
And a chance for an O-board second chance play. You never know. We mentioned more on the line for Benilde than Central. It's because Central seems to be locked into the 3rd seed in Section 4, Class 4A. Jackson Sherrod disrupted by Kennedy Gay. Kizard on the run. Can't draw the foul on Nicholson. Can't get the bucket either. Scramble for the ball. Jump ball is ruled. Possession arrow favoring Benilde-St. Margaret's.
Yeah, she was unlucky to get the foul, not to get the foul on that play. That could have gone either way.
50-50 call.
Yep.
And I like that. What officials, if they see a 50-50 call, they just let it go because you really can't argue one way or another definitively.
Yeah.
And it goes back to Central with another jump ball.
Even sometimes refs have to make a split-second call, especially without the luxury of instant replay.
It's tough in real time. But Central, a considerable distance behind Roseville for the 2nd seed in Section 4, Class 4A, and they're well ahead of Tartan. But White Bear Lake having a phenomenal year. 3 off the mark from Williams, picked up by Coughlin. Outlet pass to Jackson Sherrod. Draws the foul and will shoot free throws.
And it's worth mentioning that Central right now is currently undefeated in the St. Paul City Conference standings with a conference record of 7-0.
And if they stay undefeated, they would host the Twin Cities Championship game, that series at St. Paul this year. Jackson Sherrod, nicknamed AJ by the team, averaging 13.9 points per game. Season high is 23.
What? Go ahead.
On the floor for the Minutemen, number 5, Aaliyah Curtis Evans. Sherrod makes both. And Benilde-St. Margaret's gets on the board after 3.5 minutes, scoreless. Curtis Evans out to Williams, finds Gay. Or is that Jones? No, that is Gay.
Yeah.
Sometimes they throw different numbers at you and it can be a little confusing at times.
Yeah. Especially without the luxury of names on the uniforms at this level.
We'll confirm at halftime because sometimes they do throw out different numbers at you.
What's that? As long as the uniform's the right color, then that's all that matters for the coach.
That was nearly a traveling violation on the elephant step, but none there. That allows Gizzard to try baseline and count it. Chelsea Gizzard.
Kizard's a junior right now, playing guard.
Marta Wallen says increasingly confident in her abilities. More willing to drive and shoot, and you just saw an example of that.
No problem there for Kizard.
And a timeout called by Benilde-St. Margaret's. 13:29 left in the first half. St. Paul Central up 6-2.
And back to Grace Coughlin for a second. You said she switched to point guard this season in preparation for her first season with the Gophers, and this will give her the experience and the ability to know how to be in more of a leadership role on the court this season.
And I think that's going to be a need, although that could create some crowding next year for the Gophers because Shane Mullaney plays point guard. Rachel Banham has played that role the last couple of years, but I think the biggest question is what's going to happen with the head coaching position. Pam Borton under a lot of heat right now as there's rumors going around that she could be fired at the end of this season.
Yeah, Borton's really excited to have Coughlin on next year, but the question is, will she be around to coach her next year?
And Carly Wenger also joining the Gophers next year, one of the top-rated players in the senior class. Jackson Sherrod drains the mid-range J. Sherrod has all 4 of Benilde's points.
Straight up, straight up, straight up.
Williams lost the ball to Coughlin. Coughlin pulls up from 14. That rims out.
Yeah, an opportunity to take the tie right there, but unfortunately it bounced out.
Now, Coughlin and Sherrow, the 2 seniors headlining the respective teams, 2 completely different paths. Sherrow, as we mentioned in the open, waiting until spring to make her signing official. Coughlin verbaled her commitment to Minnesota in her freshman year.
Yeah, and as we know, NCAA only allows signed agreements much later on, so she could only do a verbal at that stage.
Liebel agreeing with that jumper. She gets on the board, and we're tied at 6.
Yeah, both Coughlin and Sherrow are leaders offensively and defensively on the team. They both lead the teams in not only scoring, but rebounding as well.
And Coughlin can get a few dimes, too. Kizard drawing contact. And she has 5 points. But that's a sign of aggressiveness. No sign of flinching out of Kizard. That's not something you necessarily saw last year. Sattler can't complete the drive. And Gay, we believe, gets the rebound. Here's Curtis Evans, up and under. That goes off, but Kizard gets in there for the offensive rebound. Williams for 3. That's strong. Coughlin has numbers. Drives, scores, and the foul. Coughlin with her first field goal.
Yeah, Central was unlucky not to score after getting the offensive rebound. But if they continually get offensive rebounds throughout this game, then they can keep this game at least close.
Smith and Greenwald subbing in for St. Paul Central, and going in for Benilde-St. Margaret's, number 33, Abby Wilgers. Coughlin, her scoring is up even as her shooting is down. Specifically, Bob Lyons says she is a more efficient passer and shooter this season, and that's why her scoring is up even though she's not taking as many shots. And as you saw there, completed 3-point play. Here's Kizard, bounces off her foot. It's picked up by Coughlin. Has numbers again, this time skips it. And Jackson Sherrod again, that's off the heel. And St. Paul Central will take a dead ball rebound.
That's an example of where we're going to see Coughlin on both sides of the court, both halves. We're going to see her there getting rebounds, and we're going to see her making plays and getting shots, or at least attempts on shots.
Curtis Evans. Runner. Strong. Rebound. Abby Wilgers, number 33. There you see Coughlin directing traffic.
Showing off her point guard skills.
And the position she settled on, or at least the path to get there, very much resembles her career path. Greenwald with the block. And the strip. Not a lot of offense in this game. And both teams have some offensive capability. Benilde-St. Margaret's averaging 66 points a game this season. St. Paul Central averaging 60. Greenwald on the entry feed. That's too strong.
It's worth mentioning a lot of Central opponents this year, they have totally decimated them margin-wise.
And I got my first assist of the day. Well, St. Paul Central, playing in the St. Paul City Conference, not a lot of strong competition there, and it's a conference they virtually own for years. The only time they haven't won going back to 1998 was 2010 when Humboldt got the St. Paul City Conference in one of St. Paul Central's rare down years. St. Paul Central throws it away. Benilde-St. Margaret's with a 9-8 lead. I'm perplexed at the lack of offense here in these first 10 minutes.
Yeah, the defense has really showed up in this game, and there hasn't been a lot of offense.
The shooting touch seems to be a little off too. Liz Nicholson going to Sattler. Those long passes are always dangerous of being picked off. Nicholson with the skip to Liebel. Now Sattler fires the three, and that rims out. Rebound. I want to say that's Jones wearing Gay's number. We'll find out if she's turned around and blocked by Liebel. But Benilde can't get there in time for transition, and that's a staple of St. Paul Central boys and girls teams. Very athletic group as they show what looks like a zone formation, modified zone. Nicholson can't find a seam. She'll back off. And here is Audrey Gaddison over to Nicholson.
Yeah, we're going on 8 minutes and left in the half, and we still don't have a team in double-digit scoring.
St. Paul Central gets the deflection, and Benilde-St. Margaret's has an opening, but throwing it up there was Sophie Hughes. She didn't get much.
They're just not finding the perfect opportunities right there.
3 off the mark. Last touch by Benilde, and substitutions coming in. Here comes Williams, Sharrow, and number 33, Jerezia Paul.
Yeah, Jerezia Paul is a senior at forward coming in.
Sharrow, hook, draws a foul, and will shoot free throws.
Yeah, there's just a lot of pressure both teams are putting on each other, and it's just making it hard for both teams to make shots that are going in.
Sharrow was slotted at power forward last year with Sade Chapman and LaShondra Curtis taking the center position. Wallen says she is taking a more commanding presence in the post this year, knowing she is the anchor down low. One of her aspirations is snowboarding, which I talked to her. She said she's going to try when the team or when the school takes a snow tubing trip later this month. She makes both free throws, and we finally have someone at 10.
Well, she should try her first snowboarding outing at the course in Sochi, from what I hear.
I don't think they'll be making the trip to Sochi. Coughlin for 3. That's strong. High recoil, though, goes right into the hands of Nicholson. Nicholson to Gaddison. And back to Nicholson, top of the key. Benilde employing a lot of patience in their half-court sets.
Yeah, they've been more or less methodical in their possession so far this half.
Williams picks up the steal and loses her own dribble.
Yeah, ball control is important here. But as I was saying, Benilde has been very methodical in their possessions, not trying to rush stuff. Even though they haven't got as many shots in as they like, they're still taking their time right now this half.
Coughlin to Nicholson. Switch. Counter for 3. Nicholson on the board. Benilde with a 2-point lead.
And we're seeing their patience pay off right now.
Both teams have a lot of postseason experience in recent years. Paul thought about it and said goes to Curtis Evans. Now back to Paul. Over to Williams. St. Paul Central won a pair of state titles in 4A, 2007-2008. That was Liebel on the steal. Coughlin draws the blocking foul. Both teams with several to give because it's been mostly a jump shooting game, not a lot of drives. Benilde-St. Margaret's has won state championships in Class 3A, and we'll talk a little more about that as St. Paul Central calls timeout. Benilde-St. Margaret's winning in 2006 and again in 2010. The 2010 game was a breathtaking affair with Hill Murray. Benilde scored twice in the final minute, which is a rarity in a sport without a shot clock, to steal the 3A title.
Yeah, at this level, if it's late in the game, the defense matters more than ever when you're trying to come back and win.
Benilde-St. Margaret's hasn't been back in a while, and they're grouped in a tough section. Washburn, Richfield playing the dark horse, and a lot of folks are saying not to sleep on Holy Family Catholic, but Coughlin, the latest Division I recruit. Recent D1 players include Kashin Alexander, who had a fine career at Iowa, now an assistant coach at Concordia. Here's Jackson Sherrod on a backdoor play. She's up to 6. And the others include Josie Dillon, who's at North Dakota, Khadijah Schumpert playing at New Mexico, and Coughlin will be the latest.
Yeah, it's always a challenge when you lose key players each season, go off the schools, and the successful programs are ones that not only have great players, but are able to maintain consistency over roster changes year out.
Benilde forcing the jump ball. They're starting to apply a little more pressure here on Central. And Central at times has been erratic. They don't have a lot of quality wins. They have a 14-5 record. Jackson Sherrod couldn't put the baseline J down, but she races in for her own rebound, and now Coughlin has a seam on the left baseline. She draws the foul and will shoot 2.
You wouldn't call a 80-9 win against one win Washington a quality win?
No. And against the stronger teams, they've struggled. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Coughlin shooting 2. We mentioned her career path resembling her position path. She has cycled through journalism, doctor, teacher, and police officer, and her sister, Allie, has noted as Coughlin makes both free throws that it changes roughly every week what she wants to be. The one area of continuity, basketball, so maybe WNBA is in her future.
We'll save her positions now since she's playing point guard now.
Right. But there are some uncertainties that have to be answered at Minnesota.
Yes. The addition of a new point guard will put a renewed sense of pressure on the existing point guards on the Gopher roster.
That would be Mulaney most likely. Shooting guard should be interesting too, with Banham and Carly Wagner going there next year. Giroux goes behind to Kizart, over to Williams. Kizart, Giroux drawing the double team, and she's going to draw a lot of coverage because she's the biggest player on the floor most of the time. And Benilde-St. Margaret's deflects her attempts. Williams sneaking in there for the steal, or at least jump ball, and that gives Central possession. We said both Kizart and Williams in the top 10. Kizart is 9th, Williams is 8th in steals.
Yeah, and that's one reason Benilde-St. Margaret is not being able to put up as many points as they'd like to, or they usually do this year.
But Central hasn't done much either on offense. We're under 5 minutes and it's 16-10, more of a football score. Williams looking to change that tune. Bullseye! Lyric Williams. That's her first field goal. Jackson Sherrod off to Coughlin. Can't find the touch there, but she gets her own rebound after the deflection. Jones deflects it back, and Williams with the steal. Williams pushing. Skip pass over to Kizart, but nothing doing.
Yeah, those are the points that you want to easily convert. Those should be your most easily convertible points right there, but they didn't get it.
That was a gimme basket.
And for the minute, number 50, Lily Greenwald.
Greenwald goes back in. Coughlin to Sattler. Out to Nicholson, over to Coughlin. Let's see what Benilde does here. Very patient again in their offensive sets. How about Nicholson faking the dribble drive, but ends up empty. Asia Smith picks it up.
Yeah, Central's defense is really stepping up right now this time of the half.
And there is Jada Jones. I just saw her go to the bench as Greenwald throws it away. Jones in uniform. She was taking the ACT this morning. And I imagine will be ready to play in the second half. How much she plays, though, I'm not sure. But right now, this is a very unusual trend developing. I thought we'd see a little more offense from high caliber players, but.
Yeah, the surprise of the afternoon.
And Coughlin, the pass was mishandled by Sattler and a turnover on the Red Knights. If there's one benefit to having such low offense here is that both teams are going to be still in contention come halftime.
Yeah, and that's the main thing. They will want to go into halftime being in a position where they can, hopefully one of them will open up and take control of the game, but we'll see.
Williams can't hit a second time. Kizart scoops the board. Curtis Evans. We're tied at 16. If you can't go inside, go out. That seems to be Central strategy. Nicholson open on the backboard. Kizart races in for the block.
Although that's staying on this side of the court, that was a very good block, Kizart.
I don't think Central minds that it's staying on this end. They prevent a fast break bucket for the Red Knights.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make a sacrifice play like that.
Nicholson pump fakes the three, goes for two instead, can't get the bounce. Jump ball, Benilde-St. Margaret's with the arrow. Shooting percentage is not going to be a complimented number, at least in the first half. Jackson Sherrod, that was close to being a turnover, but Coughlin got back in time.
Yeah, and while Benilde is being methodical on offense, Central is being persistent on defense as well, being able to hold them every time Benilde gets the ball back on offense.
Not many O boards. But not the most fluent passing from St. Paul Central today.
Yeah, that's been a big problem of theirs, has been passing, because that is where they've made a lot of mistakes so far this half.
A lot of throwaways that really shouldn't be throwaways.
Yeah, if they had a better passing game at work this half, they might be up maybe 5 or 6 points.
Instinct is a little out of sorts. But they're tied. Entry pass stolen. Nicholson picks it up. And we have a timeout or a foul. Neither team close to being in the penalty, so
Not quite.
it's an official timeout. Abby Wilgers hit the floor hard. So the officials stopped play to make sure she was okay, which she is. She will inbound the ball.
Yeah, we're not quite in bonus country yet.
But with a lot of teams throwing up jump shots, you're not going to draw as many fouls as you would on drives.
Nope.
Coughlin, speaking of jump shots.
Unlucky there. She was opening for that shot, but it just didn't go in.
And there's a reach and foul on Wilgers, but Benilde-St. Margaret's nowhere near the penalty.
Abby Wilgers, her first, team third.
Yeah, at this point, you really don't want to foul if you're not close to the automatic free throw shots, because you don't want to risk your players getting into unnecessary foul trouble.
Although you have several to give, that could come into play later in this half. Entry pass for Gay. She throws up the hook. That's off the mark, and dead ball rebound to the Minutemen. We mentioned Central not really having any quality wins. They are 2-0 in their section with wins over Woodbury and Stillwater. Giroux still not hitting her shots. but against the stronger teams in 4A, they suffered a 31-point loss to Eden Prairie and lost to Hopkins 62-42, lost to Eastview 58-45. That does not bode well as far as favorability to win the 4A state championship. Bullseye for Asia Smith, and St. Paul Central takes the lead with under a minute in a low-scoring basketball version of a pitcher's duel, 19-16.
Clutch shot there by the senior.
Benilde may opt to hold for the final shot.
At least go into halftime with some momentum and in the half on a high note.
There's those cross-court passes again.
With that persistence working off for Benilde, just being patient, not forcing.
And that's the danger of long passes. St. Paul Central deflected on the other end. It will stay with the Minutemen, but Liz Nicholson staying right on top of Curtis Evans and preventing the fast break bucket.
Yeah, that was a key play there to stop them from getting the automatic 2 points. Now they have to
work a little harder. 11 seconds. Giroux on the catch and release. Giroux has not found her stroke today.
Yeah.
Benilde with time. Jackson Sherrod hit, scored, count it. Sherrod, in the words of Bob Lyons, has stepped up her scoring as her positioning has improved, her court spacing, and the increased attention on Grace Coughlin. She's a junior, and maybe she gets a couple of looks. She comes up with a big play here, and there's the momentum you spoke of for Benilde-St. Margaret's.
Yeah, exactly. This going into the half like this is, even though the score is tied, this gives them the renewed confidence on not only defense, how they made that last stop, but also being able to make fast breaks instead of just methodically passing around and around.
The score is indeed tied. Not the score I was expecting, but tied nonetheless, 19-all. No player yet in double figures, but a lot of it just has to do with the lackluster shooting from both teams. And they're talented, they're just not finding their mark right now.
Yeah, and if you look at both sides, like you just mentioned with Giroux, she only has 2 points in this half, and on the other side with Benilde, Coughlin only has 5 points. If both of these teams want to put themselves into position in the second half, these players are going to have to step up then.
But the benefit to having such a low score, it's still very much in contention for both teams, so we'll find out who can make the adjustments and perhaps find an offensive spark in the second half. This is high school girls basketball on TSB Television. Welcome back to St. Paul Central High School. Mike Beaton here with Sean Williams-White, and we have a defensive duel going on right now, shooting uneven for both teams. Benilde-St. Margaret's and St. Paul Central tied at 19 points apiece. The leading scorer is Azaria Jackson-Sherrod with 9 points. Asia Smith leads St. Paul Central with 6. But that means this game is still wide open.
Yeah, and one would have to think that Benilde going into halftime with the defensive stop and the last second points, the momentum has to be on their side right now. But it's still an open game, anyone's game.
The thing is, Benilde-St. Margaret's has struggled from the outside and they're not getting much penetration inside. Coughlin for 3. Maybe she'll change that fortune. She drains it. Coughlin up to 8. Coughlin choosing Minnesota early on because she says people know her around here, which makes sense. It's the local school, and there's only one Division I school, so not much competition. Rita Sherrow posts up and scores and draws the foul. That's her first field goal. Well, first half started rough. Second half is starting with some fireworks.
Yeah, we might see some more offense this half. But yes, we see Sherrow here now getting involved in action. In the last possession, we saw Coughlin getting the 3. And in the first half, both of these teams leading scorers, and they weren't active in the first half, but now this half we might see them put up some points and make this more of an offensive duel.
Liebel puts down the elbow jumper, and Benilde-St. Margaret's with a 3-point lead. Somebody turned on the colloquial switch. And Jada Jones is on the floor, not available in the first half, again taking the ACT. And there's that passing problem again from St. Paul Central. They seem to get a little lazy in the half-court sets there. That allows Grace Coughlin to pull up, but that's off the heel. Picked up by Jada Jones.
Yeah, and that was a bad ball save by Central in that last possession. And they should have just let the ball go out instead of passing it over to Benilde-St. Margaret.
And Sherrow's post game is way off. Coughlin looking for the outlet, picked off by Jones. Jones skips to Smith, fakes, drives, rejected. Sherrow with the follow through.
Yeah, and there was a key offensive board there that led to points.
Second chance points. 24-23 is the score in favor of the Red Knights. Again, interclass game. Liebel missing the jumper that time. And that's a side effect of quick jumpers. You don't give your teammates time to set up for an O-board. Jones stripped by Sattler.
Yeah, and that was uncharacteristic of Benilde, at least in this game, because in the first half they were taking time on each possession.
Coughlin not taking any time, missing the three-pointer.
It looks like now in this half they're just taking less time and trying to get the points in quicker.
Both teams trying to speed up the tempo. Kizard poked away from behind. Benilde-St. Margaret's doing a fantastic job at stopping inside penetration.
That's right. But you don't want to get too much foul trouble, though, as a result of that.
Well, the thing is, they've been clean strips. Very disciplined defense out of the Red Knights today. And St. Paul Central doing a great job, too. Kickball stays with St. Paul Central. You mentioned Central undefeated in conference play. Their most significant non-conference wins, as Jones misses the three by a long mark. Hang on, Benilde is on the run, and Sattler is blocked. This time it's Lyric Williams. They're not tall players, but they're ignoring their height, metaphorically speaking.
For these players, height is only a number.
Definitely. Coughlin used up the dribble, finds Liebel. Coughlin pulls up. Still not hitting the jumper. Central's most significant non-conference win came against New Prague, one of the front-runners in Class 3A. They also defeated Osseo earlier this season. Osseo, a sleeper in Section 5, Class 4A.
And given the lack of relative...
Chelsea Kizard on the drive.
And given the lack of relative parity in the St. Paul Conference, it's these non-conference wins that are going to be the most important to look at.
St. Paul Central and Osseo met last year in the state tournament. Liebel missing the elbow. Smith with the rebound. Williams, will she push? She draws the foul on Coughlin. That's her first. But that is an element you notified us to watch, and they're going to give her continuation, so Lyric Williams goes to the line.
Yeah, you don't want to get too much into foul trouble if you're really guarding the key area.
Williams averaging 7.3 points per game. Free throws this season just 45%.
Not only giving free points to your opponent, you're also putting your players in foul trouble as a result.
Averaging 4.5 steals a game.
Got both easily.
That's the first time I could really look up my notes. We haven't had many free throws. Central 4 of 5, Benilde 4 of 4. Benilde, significant non-conference wins include Hill Murray, a team that consistently makes the 3A tournament. Coughlin missing the three-pointer. Of course, Hill Murray was the team Benilde defeated in 2010. Nicholson, that's strong. Greenwald with the rebound. Central also beat Hill Murray this season. Benilde also beat the defending three-time 3A state champion De La Salle Islanders back in January.
As we see, both teams have had quality wins so far this season.
And Maranatha, always a front-runner in Class A. That's another one of their quality wins. So that's why Benilde right now leads the QRF, but that could change in these last couple weeks of the season. Jones on the drive, came up empty.
Yeah, and if you're really excited about tournament basketball, this is a good appetizer, this match.
Nicholson, she can't buy a basket. Curtis Evans weaves through, gets the bounce. Bob Lyons calls timeout. Central with a 5-point lead.
Well, you can't buy baskets, but you can buy vowels.
Wow. Wow. I did not expect you to solve that puzzle. Where are we? Yeah. St. Paul Central up by 5. Marta Wallen, we talked about her profile, her resume. Actually, one of many members around her class. She has several peers in coaching, but Wallen holds a head coaching rank. There's a couple of players with assistant jobs. Danielle Ellison is an assistant coach at Como Park, and Ashley Ellis-Milan, who played at Minnesota, is an assistant coach at Minneapolis South. Wants to keep the tradition going, and as we said, something she's wanted since she was 16 years old. She's been wanting to coach for a long time. Players were a bit surprised to find out Willie Taylor was retiring, and then to find out she got the head coaching job. But when you have someone who understands Willie Taylor's system as she does, there's not much of a shift between head coaches.
Yeah, she's a product of his coaching tree, and so you're pretty much going to have the same philosophy and outlook on the game as Willie did. So this is as much of a continuity that Central could ask for, really.
And Willie Taylor, the winningest coach in the St. Paul City Conference by win percentage. Sattler for 3. No. Kennedy Gay takes the rebound away from Wilgers. Gay lost the handle. Greenwald's there, but loses the ball. Wilgers picks it up. Benilde has numbers. Can they get a transition look off? Jackson Sherrod, short. Greenwald with the rebound.
Yeah, not a good shot there. It didn't even hit the hoop.
She was open. It just didn't go in. I'd argue that was the right shot. She just didn't put the right arc on it.
Yeah, that was a problem of concentration right there for that shot.
Now Benilde will slow things down a bit. 29-24 the score.
At this point, they can afford to slow down a little if they're only down by 2 possessions.
Nope, still no one at double digits yet in scoring. But the rebounding stat's probably going to be prolific today with all the missed shots. And Coughlin throws it away. A miscommunication between Audrey Gaddison and it looked like Wilgers. No one knew who was supposed to receive the pass, and it ends up going into the bleachers. 3 rows up.
An assist for one of the spectators.
I have one, now a spectator does. Jones, inside to Kennedy Gay. Free throws coming. And St. Paul Central getting more aggressive here, driving more to the lane, and they're drawing more fouls. Gay averaging 5.1 points per game, 56% free throw shooter, 4.7 rebounds per game.
Yeah, they figure if they can keep letting Benilde-St. Margaret make these mistakes under the hoop, they can keep getting these free points through free throws if they can convert those free throw opportunities into points.
And that extends their lead, which is the largest of the game. Largest is now 6. Coughlin, quick skip to Gaddison. Now Nicholson has it, hesitates on the three-pointer, and those missed triples earlier might be shaking her confidence. Liebel, top of the key, short. And it was tipped by Williams, so Benilde keeps it. Looking at the schedules between the two, they have quite a few common opponents. Both schools beat Cretin-Durham Hall and Hill Murray. More common opponents than you would expect for an interclass matchup, but when you're in the Metro, you have that benefit of scheduling the tougher teams that schools outside the Metro can't necessarily do.
Yeah, outside of Metro, you're limited with geography and population density, where you have less freedom in choosing who your opponents will be.
Grace Coughlin commits the traveling violation as Benilde attempted to pull off the high-low play.
Yeah, that was a tough break for Benilde.
10 minutes, 50 seconds left in the second half. St. Paul Central up 30-24 in a game with considerable section implications for Benilde-St. Margaret's. And if Central can get a win here against a team near the top 10 in Class 3A, that might give them a boost.
Yeah,
Greenwald spins away from the double team, but that shot was deflected.
Yeah, it's these sectional standings that more or less will have playoff implications for both of these schools.
Nicholson again pulls back, stays on her pivot though, finds Coughlin. Goes to the baseline, kicks out, and you see Benilde much more hesitant to take the long distance shots now. Now Gaddison fires, and that's too strong. Kennedy Gay with the board.
Yeah, it looks like they're slowing down the tempo again a little right now this half, and it looks like it might be something that they might want to reconsider.
And this is not a strategy either team utilizes. Central, over the years, has prided themselves on up-tempo, full-court games. Coughlin, that's her second foul.
Fouls on the Red Knights, Grace Coughlin.
This game bears many similarities with the 2010 3A championship that Benilde-St. Margaret's won and the 2008 4A championship won by St. Paul Central. That was a 49-44 game, and a lot of folks were expecting an offensive rout after the first two meetings were high-scoring games.
Yeah, it never always works out how people expect it to, based on the stat sheet that we always see before the game.
Super Bowl 48, a great example.
Exactly.
Williams, strong on the three. Sherrill leaps up for the rebound, but she's short on the follow-through. Smith can't get the putback, and it goes to Gaddison. The big difference I'm noticing, Benilde doesn't have as many players to push the ball for fast break, and again, it's hard to get anything going when your shots aren't falling.
Yeah, that's a problem with Benilde right now. It's hard for them to get in the middle right now just because of Central's strength with the defensive prowess under the net.
Well, one benefit with this game, not many points. I'll be home early and we'll have plenty of time to make my Swarm game tonight. Minnesota hosting their second home game of the season.
How's their record so far?
They're not doing well. They kind of hit the reset button with their team dynamic, and it shows. Raina Sherrill, that's too strong. Benilde really swarming her every time she touches the ball. Carter Simmons, bullseye! And Central now has their largest lead bumped to 9. Still nobody at double digits, but Central will take this result.
Yeah, right now they're just spreading the ball around, trying to let anyone get points at this stage.
Williams with the poke and the steal and the finish. And with the tempo of this game and Benilde not able to push the ball with much agility, an 11-point lead is dangerous territory for the Red Knights.
Yeah, the first double-digit lead of the game for either
and
team.
And Levo finally hits a jumper. That ends a scoring drought for the Red Knights that went about 6 minutes long. And here comes Grace Coughlin going in. Coughlin with 8 points. Again, everybody, pretty much everyone below their average right now.
Yeah, this isn't going to help anyone's points per game average for the year, this game.
But if you were to ask any of those players about that, a lot of them would shrug it off. They're not worried about numbers.
Yeah, there's only one stat that matters for both of these teams, and that's the W.
Raina Sherrow wills that basket in. Sherrow up to 8. Lebo left alone, and the high-low play pays off that time. 9-point margin, still a lot of time left. And Benilde could easily get their way back in this, but getting a couple of baskets to go in, that may boost their confidence.
Yeah, a few defensive breaks and a couple of big points. This game is once again close.
Williams is blocked by 32, Sophie Hughes. And what you're seeing out of Benilde in these last few possessions is a trend Lions has noticed this season. Last year, a lot of the players would stand to watch Grace Coughlin, but the pass is deflected and stolen by Asia Smith, but she can't get a handle on it cleanly. Now Sattler has it. She's pulled from behind by Jada Jones. It stays with Benilde, but defense, ruling the day here. If you're a fan of defense, this is probably a game you'll want on tape.
Checking in for the Red Knights, AJ Sherrod.
But to finish up that point, a lot of folks would stand and watch Grace Coughlin try to rescue them. Now they're taking more of an initiative on their own over the Benilde-St. Margaret's roster.
Yeah, they have to, at this point, realize that she's probably not going to get her usual points per game load that she usually does for this game. So it's going to be an effort, not just offensively, but defensively as well, since she's a leader on the defense. In that light, they need to all step it up, not just on offense, but on defense as well.
And with Grace Coughlin, even though she's not playing well statistically, she fits the gym rat identity to a T. Many times, they've had to shoo her away from the gym so she doesn't tire herself out.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll even send her to another sport just so she can get her mind off of basketball for a little while.
Yeah, this summer she went to the gym every morning at 7:30.
And to try to get her mind off basketball, Williams, that would have been a huge three-pointer, a possible dagger, but Sherrow on the follow-through, the putback. Our first double-digit score, and the Minutemen are up by 11. Coughlin, long three, got it! To get her mind off basketball, they put her on the soccer team where she won a state title with her sister a couple of years ago. Tried swimming. Basketball still in her blood, and Coughlin with the big three-pointer to make this an 8-point game.
Like you said, basketball's been the one constancy with her, even though she's
not quite sure what she wants to do.
Exactly.
Played with Carly Wagner last year in AAU ball. Jones can't hit the response. Jackson Sherrod with the rebound. Coughlin skips to Sattler. Over to Jackson Sherrod. Now Benilde-St. Margaret's, we're getting to that stage where they can't dawdle too long on these possessions. They need to get some quick scores.
Yeah, especially since Central, when they get the ball now, they're going to take as much time as they can, given that they have the lead right now and it's getting late in the game.
Jackson Sherrod couldn't post up around Sherrow.
Substitution for the Red Knights, number 30, and for the Minutemen, Kennedy Gay.
Liebel coming in for the Red Knights. Gay and Curtis Evans in for the Minutemen. 5:26 left. You're right, Central could kill clock, but they know they're beating Benilde through agility. Central looking to get a quality win. Sherrow almost stripped from behind by Sattler. Sherrow with the swarm again. How did she come up with that to put it in? She had 4 bodies around her. The ball tipped right into her hands. Coughlin draws a foul.
Yeah, 4 people couldn't bring her down. It was like the touchdown at the Super Bowl last weekend.
Which one?
The multiple tackle breaks.
I forget who scored that one. I just remember Malcolm Smith picked 6 and all the defensive stops. Coughlin at the line, though.
Coughlin's in double digits now scoring.
She's up 12. And she finds some motivation from some of her detractors who say she doesn't have a body for the Big Ten. She's 5'8". She says it's the size of the heart and mind that are important to her. Very passionate about the sport, and going to Minnesota, yeah, there are some folks who may be scratching their heads. Why would you go there? But if Coughlin can be part of a resurrection, whoever the coach is, Jones, Gay, no foul call, but Smith is there on the backside. Jump ball, St. Paul Central with the arrow.
And with the right players in any given year, the Gophers are always in the mix in the Big Ten.
That's the hope. But there's a motivation where if you're able to make something out of a seemingly bad situation, the payoff is much more significant than, say, if you were to go to UConn and win another title in their line of about 1,500 of those. Actually, they've won 8 and are the favorite to win a 9th.
Yeah, going to a program like Minnesota as opposed to Connecticut, it provides her with an opportunity to be
It gets you some playing time.
Yeah, give her more playing time. Also be a
Coughlin, clutch!
Speaking of which,
41-36, and again a low-scoring game. Keeps the margin close.
And now we see Coughlin's come to life now in this game. 16 points.
Gay is blocked. Chereau is going to be subbed back in the next dead ball. Coughlin out to Liebel. Coughlin again.
Wide open, perfect shot. This is the Grace Coughlin people came to see today.
Coughlin up to 19 points. Central led by 11. That margin reduced to 2, 41-39 with 3 minutes and 19 seconds left. Looking at the game reset, Central with 2 timeouts left, Benilde with 3. Central with just 1 foul, so if Benilde gets up front, Central's going to have to do a lot of fouling to stop the clock, but neither team in the bonus. So a lot of room. So in a way, the lack of fouls helps you because you don't have to worry about foul management.
Exactly. And like I was saying earlier, was that now at this point, Central can't drain the clock. They could have if the margin was still at least 10 points, but now with a one possession game, this once again puts pressure on both teams. And also, like we saw, the Red Knights, they came in, they made a couple of good defensive stops in the past few minutes and got the big points. And I said earlier a few minutes ago, if they did this, then this would be a 2-possession game.
We're looking at a 1-possession game right now.
Yep.
Central can't lay back now, but they do get their starters back on the floor. They say the seniors have stepped up, and Raina Chereau stepping up. This is clutch time. Central looking for a quality win. Benilde trying to keep pace with Washburn for the top seed in Section 6, Class 3A. Nicholson off to Sattler. Liebel for 3. No. Central still can't relax here. Only a 2-possession lead with 2.5 to play.
Yeah, mistakes are going to determine this game here on out in the last 2.5 minutes.
Smith fires. Too strong. Raina Chereau. No. Kizard is there. The second chance point. Central's savior in this game. Bob Lyons calls timeout. And St. Paul Central up by 6 with 2:15 left. That's still a lot of time, though.
Yeah, still a lot of time, especially since we're not in bonus territory yet. The teams are going to have to get points the old-fashioned way, at least for now still.
A few other notes we want to share since we're coming up on the end of this game. We mentioned Kennedy Gay getting the start in place of Jones, plays volleyball year-round. The seniors have stepped up in the last couple of weeks, and the teams will frequently host sleepovers and get-togethers at local restaurants.
And it's things like that create team camaraderie. It may not seem like a lot, but it helps build trust and a sense of extended family, at least in the eyes of the players.
And another fact we want to highlight, Liz Nicholson doesn't get the credit of Grace Coughlin because the stats don't reflect it, but the senior guard right now is the class valedictorian.
Yeah.
Which means if she doesn't get an athletic scholarship, she's a lock for an academic scholarship.
Yes. Just hedging all of her bets.
Foul on Jada Jones, but Central has a plethora of fouls to give. And this is where Central can use that to their advantage here, up by 2 possessions. They can eat up some time on the clock. Of course, you don't want to foul in the act of shooting, but Central still has 4 fouls before they have to worry about reaching the penalty.
Exactly.
So a lot of room for error here.
And again, Central can't relax too much.
Well, and there's 2 quick fouls, so that puts them up to 3, but they're eating up time. And no one in danger of fouling out. They're going to feed Coughlin. Coughlin with the seam. Backdoor to Sherrod. Beautiful play.
Yeah, it seemed earlier they had a shot under the hoop, but they went back and passed it to Sherrod and got the points anyway.
Benilde still has 2 fouls to give here. At what point do you start playing that game? Williams tried to go backdoor, and it ends up in a turnover. Benilde with 1:23 left. They cannot sit back. They have to attack.
Yeah, they have to score here if they want a chance.
They're going to try to set it for Coughlin. No, it's Liebel, and she draws a foul on Sherrow. That's just Sherrow's first, but that puts Liebel at the free throw line and stops the clock with 1:11 to play.
Yeah, this is critical right here. They can get within 2 if she puts in both of those, but then they also still have to get a defensive stop.
Understatement of the season. Liebel averaging 9.6 points per game. Season high this year is 21.
And she's right at that average right now.
Benilde perfect from the free throw line, just 6 of 6, but that's keeping them in this, and it's a 2-point game.
Central's going to try to hold on to the ball as long as they can, maybe.
Not for too long, though, but they get an open look down low. It's Sherrow who draws a foul. But Sherrow, not a great free throw shooter, hasn't been throughout her varsity career, just 57%. This could leave an opening for the Red Knights.
But she knows these are critical points.
Sherrow has made all 3 free throws thus far. Next one makes it a 2-possession game. Missed the back end. That leaves the door open. There's another foul on Jada Jones. Central still had 2 to give, 55.3 left. But a 3-pointer ties it. At this point, though, do you attack, go for a 2, and then, well, you still have a foul to give? I'm not sure what you do in this situation. That's what I love it. It's a tactician's dream. Sherrod losing the handle, deflected off Central, so it stays with Benilde with 40.7 left.
Yeah, and if you make the wrong decision and strategy after the game, you're going to think coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Your tribute to Jim Mora.
Thankfully, we're not in the postseason yet, so
We can't talk about playoffs just yet.
Yes.
Sherrod lost the handle, saves it. Liebel in trouble and throws it away. Now Benilde has to foul with 29.4 left. But they have some options on who to foul. Nobody shooting well from the free throw line for Central. There's one of them. Now Central's in the bonus.
Fouls on Justin Sackler for second, 2-6. And it's Asia Smith back in for Minutemen.
This would be a big win, not just for Central, but as we said, Washburn eyeing this one for the section seeding. Benilde's got a foul here, and they do. 22.3 left.
Her first, T7.
Yeah, as long as Central can keep putting in these free throw shots and holding on to the ball as long as they can, then game's theirs.
We'll get a look at Jada Jones. She shoots just 50% again. Took the ACT this morning, so was not available in the first half. Although I'd still say her environment was more comfortable than my testing environment was, but I'll have to save that story for another time. Traveling violation, so Central not only misses the front end of a 1-and-1 coming up empty, but Benilde-St. Margaret's is still alive.
Maybe some mental fatigue from the ACT.
You want that? I had to take it at St. Thomas in the middle of their homecoming parade.
Oh.
They feed the ball to Coughlin. They swarm her, 13 seconds. Benilde pretty much has to get a three-pointer off. Coughlin is blocked by Sherrod. That should do it. Williams is fouled. She'll go to the line.
That was unlucky.
Sherrod, good job staying on her.
Yeah, it was an unlucky moment for Coughlin there. And yeah, you could see that the shot didn't have a chance of going in the whole way. It was more of a desperation shot, more or less.
Williams with the offensive rebound. That will do it. St. Paul Central hangs on for a 46-43 win. The effort of Coughlin just not enough, and Benilde just looking quite erratic in that last minute or two.
Yeah, they came back as close as they did, and should be commended for that, but Central got a well-deserved win here.
So the Benilde-St. Margaret's winning streak of 3 games ends. St. Paul Central improves their winning streak to 3, and Washburn getting a lot of help in their section. We'll try to get a word with some of the St. Paul Central players. This is high school girls basketball. St. Paul Central wins 46-43. Mike Peden here with Raina Sherrod from St. Paul Central. Raina, you had just 15 points and through the first half couldn't buy a basket. All your post-up moves were coming up empty. How do you weather a game like this?
In the first half, I think I tried too hard because I was I knew that to get the team going, I had to make the post moves, and then that would get my team more confidence. And then I knew it was kind of slow, so then I just tried to focus on getting rebounds, making assists, and luckily enough, my teammates were making the shots, so I was lucky enough for that. And then second half came, I just tried to calm myself down and just try to slow myself down. I think that was another thing. I was rushing too much in my head, and then that kind of made my shot short. So I'm glad we got it going.
And speaking of the second half, you made some big plays. You had that big block against Grace Coughlin when she fired the three-pointer to tie it. How did you stay on her?
I knew before when I was out that she got her first I think it was like 3 threes in a row, and she was constantly open. And I was telling my teammates, like, we got to make sure we know where she is. We got to make sure we know where she is. And then I seen her cut, and I was like, oh, she's going to shoot the ball. And then the ball was in the air, and lucky enough I got there. I just tried to be as tall as I could and not, like, try to foul her. And lucky enough I got a piece of the ball, and that made a difference.
Yeah, your 6-foot frame felt like 8 feet, I'm sure, at that play. And just, what about the elation? You get that big block, and then Williams gets an offensive rebound, missing the front end of a 1-on-1 to seal the game. Just Central was very tough and very tenacious in their endurance today.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, my teammates are always there. Like, we always pick each other up. Like, we always try to make a big play, and then we know that we can depend on each other, that the other person's going to be there, and that we can just count on each other to know that one person's going to do the job, that we can count on the other person being behind us that's going to be there to help us out.
And how would you make of the first season with Marta Wallin as head coach? I know you were surprised, a lot of folks were, when Willie Taylor announced he was retiring and coming up as one of his many proteges. So how has that transition been going, and what have you noticed with Wallin as head coach now?
It's been going well. I mean, there's a few changes, but not much, because she's been with us for a couple of years. So that kind of helped us, like, relax and take into her more, because I think it would have been harder for us if we would have had a completely new coach that didn't know anything about us. But I mean, she's a great coach. She's good. She communicates with us. She knows where we're coming from, because she's been in, like, the same level and position as us. She played for Central. She played for Coach Taylor. So I think she all knew where we were coming from, and that made her a great fit, that she was our coach to help us out.
One of many former players now coaching, as the coaching tree starts to develop for Willie Taylor. So his impact still prominent here in St. Paul Central. Now, what does this win get you? It's a quality win. I know St. Paul Central didn't have too many of those coming in, but you get one against a top 10 caliber team in Benilde-St. Margaret's. How does that give you some confidence as you enter the last leg of the season?
It gives us great confidence, because we've had a couple of tough losses recently, and we knew that after our loss to Chanhassen that we just had to pick up today and get our confidence back, get us going, and show people that we are ready to compete. We can do this. We have lost some close games or some tough games, but we're still ready to come back and get another state title.
And speaking of, of course, you went to state last year. What else are you looking to accomplish in your senior season? I know you still haven't decided on a college yet, but what are some of your goals, and how do you think you've met them so far?
Some of my goals really are just to, like, keep my team motivated, for us, of course, to not only go to state, but to get further into state. And I think we're doing a good job. I think me and my other team captains, Jada Jones and Lyric Williams, I think that we're doing a good job trying to keep our team motivated, making sure if we, like, lose a play, that it's okay, and that we just keep each other going. I think that it's going well. I think that our goal is going to be accomplished. I think they're all looking for the same thing, so that helps too.
Well, I'm sure this game will make that snow tubing trip of yours that you spoke of a little more excitable. Maybe you can get some snowboarding in too, and the Winter Olympics are going on, so you can get some pointers.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
And anybody you want to say hi to that's watching this game on Prep 45 or on SBNN?
My family, my dad, my brother, my niece and nephew, all my family.
Well, be ready to field a lot of congratulatory messages on Twitter in the next hour or two for coming up with a big win like this. Congratulations, Raina, and who knows, hopefully we'll see you at state, maybe even at the Twin Cities game, which you would host if you can win the conference.
Yeah, definitely. We plan on being there.
That's Raina Chiro of St. Paul Central. Thank you very much, and that concludes our coverage from here. St. Paul Central winning 46-43. I'm Mike Peden, and we'll see you next time.